Friends for Life is an LGBTQI organization. We started off doing HIV/AIDS work, and we've been doing that for about 20 years now. I don't know, probably the most famous gay man that I know in Trinidad and Tobago, Eswick Padmore, started Friends for Life, and I've looked up to him as a mentor, and he's guided the way that I approach work, particularly with key populations. So I'm going to try to talk a little bit about barriers to access in HIV and then some other things. So what are the barriers to access for gay men, MSM, and other men who have sex with men? I think that Cecil? Kwesi. Crazy.
It's CRSC, right?
Thank you. Crazy addressed some of it, and that is when you're going in to seek healthcare from an institution. If you experience stigma or discrimination, it means that, think about it for your own self. You're going into Moncton, and the person behind the counter treats you in a particular way, and you say, oh gosh, if I was Indian, she might not have treated me like that. If I was whatever, she might not treat me like that. If I was wearing a jacket, she might not treat me like that. All those different ways, and you said, I'm not going back Moncton. Think about it the same way that MSM persons, especially those who are not cisgendered. So I have a certain amount of privilege that I can move about in the world. I have a little bit of brown in me, and I look reasonably, I guess male. But for persons who might be effeminate, or for persons who express their gender expression is non-conforming, it means that people can see and then you can get that treatment. Not only that, but then what happens when you come in, you look a little, and then the security guard goes and calls the other security guard from around the corner to tell you, you wouldn't believe who in here, Saucy Pal came to get an HIV test. And then you go in to see the nurse, and then the nurse is drawing the blood, but at the same time she says, all right, I come back just now, and she calls the other nurse to peep in and see that Saucy Pal is getting her blood drawn for HIV. So those kinds of experience make us believe that the healthcare system does not work for us in good ways. LGBTQI, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and the Q is for queer and I is for intersex. The intersex is like a hermaphrodite or various kinds of hermaphrodizations, and queer really is an American word. But you know what I say, if the America sneeze, what?
The world catches a cold.
And so it really refers to persons who might not identify with a particular one of the letters, but feel that they are non-conforming to what the normal gender norm is. What else is there? Cisgender. Cisgender is a person who, if I'm born male, I look male and I act male, I am a cis male. So it's the person who behaves the way they're supposed to behave. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but that's what it is. So then there's a belief that healthcare is not for me. What does that do? That sets up the community to not have health-seeking behaviors. It means that I get a little itch and I do not go and check it out. It means that people die of HIV when they are antiretrovirals that will prolong your life for a long time. It means that, you get the picture. So it's not just this frontline treatment. There's also systemic issues that kind of create barriers to access. And so, for instance, and those things are like laws or policies or just even workplace policies. You go into social welfare, and I'll give you an example. My good friend Tina, one of our clients, she's a trans woman. She grew up in an orphanage. She did not have an education past primary school, so she never had a high school education. So she's just, just barely functionally literate. And Tina says all kinds of crazy things. She's like, she'll say like, 9 and 9 is 29, and she would make up words and the other things. So like, what kind of fruffulousness is this? She does that all the time, very, very charismatic and entertaining. But as I said, just barely functionally literate. Tina is old, she's like 40, in mid-age, 44, and she was trained as a jeweler. Brandy is calling. She was trained as a jeweler, so she can make jewelry. She usually gives me all my jewelry. She wanted to leave working for persons because they were exploiting her. She was getting part-time employment, she was not getting NIS paid. They would hire her for Christmas, fire her after for Christmas, call her back for Diwali, fire her after that. And so she wanted to get this kind of this thing that would help her clean jewelry at home so she could make money, she'd be self-employed. She also did sex work to get by. I did the micro enterprise grant, and I submitted to my boss, and I say, I was working in social development at the time. I say, listen, Tina really needs to get this piece of equipment. It will drastically change her life. I mean, you go from working for people to being self-employed like that. You just hand somebody a piece of equipment and they're now self-sufficient. My boss looks at the application, she denied it. And so when I asked her, why did you deny it? She said, what Tina needs is to enroll in an altar class so that she can learn to read so that she would not be exploited by her employers. And I thought to myself, these altar classes are like in, I don't know, some tough neighborhoods like Mangroves, I don't know if anybody will have until, or far-flung areas. You want to take Tina, some trans woman, who don't venture no way past the 6 or 7 blocks that she live in, to put her in a taxi, to go all the way into Mango Roads, for some man to stab Shinchinek, so that she could learn English, she could learn to read, take however much long that takes, all this time, as they say, while the grass growing. And I felt that it's a way, that's just a subtle way that workplace policy is influenced by these I don't say invisible stigma or covert stigma or underneath kind of ways that stigma shows itself. So it's not necessarily what is best for the client, but rather you have a perception of what you think or how you think you should engage with a particular person, not based upon their need, but based upon only upon how you feel. And so there's no recognition that we could have just instantly made Tina's life better in a day. So those kind of ways that persons who are in positions to create policies for their own organization, create policies for the country, create laws, are these people who are not connected very personally to the client experience. And if you don't, I say the thing, if you just don't know, you just don't know. But I just kind of feel sometimes with LGBTQI issues that it's not just that you don't know, that even when you were made aware, you think that your position is morally right and that you are the person who's in the know and not necessarily the client. So I did some research. We did 2 pieces of research, one on human rights violations and one on homelessness. And with the issue with homelessness, we found, that's the other thing. I want you to really recognize gay men, other men who have sex with men, bisexual men, really and truly is if you're working class, maybe if you're middle class or lower middle class or poor, that's really where you feel the brunt of the issues. If you have a good bit of money, not that your life is significantly the best, but if you have some money, at least you can buy some rights. I can buy protection. I can get behind a gated community. I can pay a very good lawyer if my boss gives me a hard time. I can travel and go to New York so I could prance in Manhattan Day Parade. I don't know what the crap it is. What is Gay Pride in New York? Pride. Wherever the hell it is. So I can have some kind of feeling of enjoyment. And so if you have, when you are poorer, come from a tough community or a rural community, that's more when those things kind of overlap and you become even more affected by it. One of the things to realize with homelessness is that you have persons like Tina or other MSM who you live in a community that's tough. They give you a hard time all the time. And so as soon as you finish high school, you have to leave. There's no such thing as I'm going to do A-levels, I'm going to the university. Get out. So you finish high school, you're big enough, you get out of that community, you're going somewhere else. It means then that your ability to be upwardly mobile gets limited. What happens if you are like Tina and you are barely functionally literate? It means that you are only committed to a certain kind of job. Then you realize that you get a little place, you get a small apartment. Mind you, the cheap apartments are in the tough neighborhoods. They're not in Westmoreland. You get Westmoreland is an affluent area. You get a cheap apartment, your landlord begins to give you a hard time because landlords, that's not true. Your landlord is a Christian, conservative man or woman who decide that every time that other man coming to see you, that is a problem. So the instant one neighbor says, I don't know, he was playing music, you get evicted. Now the landlord has good reason, but really they're evicting you because they don't want that kind of debauchery up in their place. Jesus don't like it. You have to move. What then happens? It means you have to get first, last month's rent, security deposit. It means that you have to get paid the movers. So very often I have found that our clients, so I'm a social worker in Friends for Life, so I find that our clients have, they just stay light. You know, like I don't buy a fridge, I don't buy a stove, you buy a bed maybe. it also means that your enjoyment of life is significantly reduced. You end up homeless. Now, I'm not even talking about sex work. We're talking now about survival sex. And so that I need to get a place to stay tonight. And so if I need to give it up, I'm giving it up. And so people might be there to exploit me. And the reason why I want to say it's separate from sex work is that when I did the research, I recognized two things. One, that all the persons who did sexual favors to get someone to stay were very clear on it. Like, listen, I did this so that I could get. None of them were like, these people were raping me. The other thing is, there were people who were actually sex workers, who when they got the opportunity, somebody said, well, if they give me a piece, I will allow it to this. They said no.
Piece of the watermelon.
Now, mind you, they've given up sex all over the place for all kinds of things, but they were adamant about not being exploited. And it lends credence to the notion that sex work is working on. People working, exploitation and all those other issues, I think have a separate place and needs to be discussed in another area. So my timer is going off, and I will end by saying that I want to talk about mental health a little bit. But I'll use my own example to talk about mental health. There's something called complex trauma. Oh no, but before I say that, I want to talk about language. So my only thing to persons in the media is, I know it, you don't need a story, you need to be sensational, you need to grip the papers. I get all that, I love it too. Sometimes as activists, we do campaigns that are a bit bitey and edgy because we want to get the limelight. There's not the problem with that. My issue is the language. And so use the right words, say the right things. Don't put some dumb nonsense like man in a dress found where there's a difference between a man in a dress on a comedy festival making a scene and a trans woman. Like say trans woman. You know what I mean? So just those kinds of subtleties. And so to end with mental health, I've realized that after you. So I've lived. I'm a little young. I was feminine when I was younger, and so people give you a hard time. Thank God, my parents and my family never did. That's a whole other issue about talking about the elephant in the room that everybody's walking by pretending is not there. But you're living in a community where somebody else calling you batty man, somebody else threatening to beat you up, and people think that is funny and kicks it. And I've realized that every last one of my clients, when I see people say they're going to kill me, and I was like, they're going to kill you, because I'm thinking about, they're going to kill you, really? But the truth is, if I believe that somebody is going to really kill me, I behave in a certain way. If my father finds out on me, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill you? Yes, they believe it. What does that do to you psychologically? Every day, the same man who you have to go and get money from to go to school, the same lady who's making dinner for you and hugging you night and kissing you, that same person is the person who come back and say, don't do that, stop getting like a bull man. If only I find out any of my children. You're living in a community every day. As you pass the road, somebody's throwing words for you. What does that do to your mind? Every day you go to school, the bully's picking on you because when you're gay, they assume you're a little bit soft and they pick on you. And unfortunately, I was a bit short, and so I had a real hard time. All of that, bearing down, how do you perform in school? How do you really get by in the day? Then you get to be an adult, and you do what everybody else does in the world. You see somebody like them and you want to have a relationship. You can't really do that, really. You can't do the normal thing. You can't hold somebody's hand. Like the natural instincts that isn't deep in your gut, you want to hold somebody's hand and walk in the room, you can't do it. You want to reach over and hug somebody, you understand what I mean? What does that do to your mind? Now you're finally finding a relationship, you're good, and now I'm not talking about myself now. You finally get yourself in a relationship, you feel you're good, you're home, the man reach across and he touch you, you're inside the house, huh? You're inside the house. He reach across and you touch it, you push him. Because you never really hug nobody. He cuss you stink, he gone, he left and now he's in Taiwan and he's teaching English. Thank you very much, I close.